what about Menlo Park? How did this whole idea of community benefits in this agreement evolve?
I'd say there's two main buckets. One is related to the environmental impacts that Councilmember Woods was talking about, and so the city did perform the environmental review, and it looked at impacts within the city of Menlo Park and surrounding communities. And there are impacts related to transportation, traffic, noise, air quality, and so those are things that the city needs to look at in terms of balancing benefits that against those impacts. And then in a separate bucket, there's in terms of the different revenue that businesses can provide to a city. That comes in one form of property tax, but another form of revenue is sales tax. And historically, the campus where Facebook is locating was occupied by Sun Microsystems, and they did generate quite a bit of sales tax for the city. So the city was looking for a similar type of occupant, and so Facebook is a very prominent occupant but does not generate sales tax.
Now, Sun Microsystems, did that company have an agreement that provided community benefits beyond the sales tax revenue or any property tax revenue?
Sun Microsystems did have an agreement with the city called the Development Agreement. It did have some benefits to the city, but I would say that this agreement with Facebook goes above and beyond what Sun Microsystems did, and looks to engage with the community a lot more and beyond the Menlo Park borders.
Okay, we'll talk about the going beyond. Now, Dorsey, I am sure that your concern with Facebook, and I really shouldn't say I'm sure, but your concern with Facebook probably does not go beyond, is not primarily involved with the traffic or with the environmental concerns.
I do have that as a concern. Is I live in East Menlo Park and I can't get out of my neighborhood in the morning because I'm surrounded by traffic going to and from. So I am concerned about the traffic. I am concerned about being poisoned through pollution, so I don't want to downplay that. But the thing that I'm concerned about is that I live in a segregated society. The people in West Menlo Park have never adequately represented my interests. So what Facebook negotiated with the city of Menlo Park was absent of the residents' participation in any real meaningful way in regards to decision making about what was going to happen with Facebook that was plopped down in the most marginalized section of San Mateo County.
So what do you mean that the agreement left out the community concerns?
I believe the agreement, when I say I stay in a segregated part of Menlo Park, I asked us to name all of the black and brown people who are on the city council, all of the black and brown people that are part of all the commissions and boards that they have, and you would see our absence. So we are not negotiating what's in the best interest of East Menlo Park, and I think that we have been treated less than how they treat people in other parts of Menlo Park.
Okay, David, what's your concern as a community resident?
As a community resident, first thing that came in my head was Facebook is going to be at the end of Willow Road on our side of Menlo Park. So the first thing that I said, like I said, popped up in my head was palm trees down Willow Road, like just entering Stanford University. I'm thinking, oh, Facebook's going to beautify East Menlo Park. That's the first thing that came up in my head. And it's a multi-billionaire company, you know. Stanford, they're not making that much money as Facebook. So that's what made me think that, oh, finally, somebody's here that's going to change East Menlo Park, you know. And Facebook, they could be a part of that, you know.
Why would you expect that Facebook would change Menlo Park? Corporations are about making money for their stockholders and creating a profit for the company.
Because there's game changers that come, right? And Facebook's a world changer. They came in here and changed the face of the world, you know. Everybody's now together, you know. You can find out what's going on. Right now, I have my grandpa's in the hospital, Stanford Hospital right now, and people around the world are coming here, flying in to come see my grandpa. He has cancer. And having Facebook let everyone around the world know that my grandpa's in the hospital right now. And so everyone's flying in this weekend, and it's just, that's what I'm saying. They're a big game changer, world changer, put it like that. And I feel like Belhaven, East Menlo Park, our little community is not as big as the world. It's not. It's a little community, so it can be changed. It's
Okay, now, David Woods, the other David talked about his high expectations that Facebook could really change the face of the Belhaven section of Menlo Park. Are there any expectations like that on the part of the city of East Palo Alto?
From my perspective, no, and I can't speak for the entire city. First of all, Facebook is in Menlo Park. So it's outside of our borders. Now, I do have concern about Belhaven. Being a realtor by trade, I've seen what has happened with the property values in the Belhaven neighborhood since the time that Facebook decided that they were coming. I've gone to open houses where there's 20 prospective buyers at the open house in the first half hour of the open house, which is unheard of. So it has its effects, and that's not really counted in the EIR. Although if you're a property owner, of course you want your values to go up. But if you're a first-time home buyer or a younger individual that grew up in Belhaven that's looking to enter the housing market, it's almost impossible. Even if you make a higher offer and you can only come up with 5 or 10% down, when you have investors or Facebookers putting 20 to 50% down, you don't stand a chance. So there are additional side effects, but I'm not looking for Facebook to change anything. I'm hoping, and I believe by the agreement that the city of East Palo Alto has come up, it shows that they are somewhat concerned about the community. But East Palo Alto have to look out for East Palo Alto. Facebook is not a savior.
You know, like when he says that he's not looking for that, I stay in Menlo Park, and I've been staying in Menlo Park and East Palo Alto between those two cities since 1954. You know, and if I would be a fool to sit here and say that I don't recognize that we could be subject to gentrification in our area. The price of my house then went up tremendously, and at first I felt a great sense of gratitude that finally the price of my house was getting back stabilized. Then after that, I started thinking about what would my neighbors look like, what would my community look like, and I can see people riding around on bicycles all day long in my community, and I can see people moving to and from looking for places to buy in my area.
So some people would say, isn't that a good thing that the housing prices are up, the neighborhood is improving, there's more money coming into the
would say
community?
that, but if you go and talk to people who used to stay in the Fillmore that have been displaced, they may not say that. They can say they lost a sense of community and they lost their community. If you go to San Francisco and ask people who used to live in the Mission, they would say the same thing. So it's areas where we used to stay that we don't stay. The population of San Francisco dropped from about 8% to less than 3% in San Francisco. So we could be displaced in this area as people of color. The other thing that you said that is all about business, that's the framing of the corporations. Because where the social network meets, it should sit on a foundation of social justice. So some parts of this question is a larger question than just simply the question of Facebook. You got Google, you got Oracle, you got Hewlett-Packard. You got the economic engine that drives the world sitting in the middle of our community in part. And you got poor people who got second-rate computers in their classroom. Our kids can't compete, and yet we're going to talk about the interests of what corporations is built for. I don't want to surrender our society to the premise that corporations should have their way at the disadvantage of people who don't have a corporation.
Okay, great. For expressing that.
Could I respond?
Well, hold 1 second. I do want you to respond, but I'd like to give Justin a chance to answer the question in terms of the city of Menlo Park's expectations or whatever else was said.
Right. Now, we're quite a lively discussion, so there's a lot of issues. Some are beyond Facebook. But, I mean, I think the interesting part about this is that Facebook is bringing us together to even have this conversation. I think that's healthy. And there are real challenges out there. We need to, but the best thing that we could do is get together and talk about them. So There are concerns about how things may change, and I think the best thing to do is be able to kind of get them on the table and actually start talking about them.